Well, I hope if you're heading to Ottawa or Montreal today, you're there before dinner. If not, I'd probably hold off until maybe Thursday morning. As we head through the dinner hour and later tonight, the roads are going to be messy. They will be a disaster in some cases, with up to 20 centimeters of snow expected tonight in Montreal, 15 centimeters of snow for Ottawa. And don't forget, this is our first significant snowfall of the season. We haven't had that much snow to date. Now, that being said, we've already heard from some people on our storm line, on Facebook and Twitter. They have been calling in from Sudbury, reporting icy conditions out on the roads, and some calls in from London in the southwest, saying that there's already some wet snow mixing in with the rain. By the way, if you are on Twitter and you want to send us your weather observations, use hashtag ONStorm or QCStorm, whether you're in Ontario or Quebec, and we can find your observations a lot more quickly. Now here's the story. Yes, we're looking at rain for the most part in southern Ontario today, but as temperatures cool later this afternoon, we're going to see some wet snow mixed in there, and even more so through the night tonight as temperatures continue to cool. So the roads are going to be a sloppy mess. We are looking at ice fairly widespread potentially in Ontario and Quebec, so you'll likely see a lot of salt trucks out on the roads. But as Emily Vukovic tells us, it's important to be smart about salt.
Salt use on roads and highways is somewhat under control. Now it's time to look at parking lots and sidewalks. That's the message from Smart About Salt, an organization dedicated to protecting drinking water through improved winter salt use. Because what we use today affects us in the long term.
We're a groundwater-based community midway between a number of Great Lakes. And so we have 120 municipal supply wells, and we have elevated levels of salt in pretty much every one of those wells. So we started about 10 years ago to look to reduce the total amount of salt going into our wells to make sure we had a long-term water supply.
When it comes to winter salt use, it seems most of us are using too much because we just don't understand how it works. For example, rock salt doesn't work below -10 degrees, and it works best as a brine. And most of us are surprised to find out where it all ends up.
I talked to a number of residents, and they're surprised that the water that goes onto the street ends up in our local area river system. So I think we want to bring some greater awareness that the salt that they're applying on their walkways and on their driveways ends up in our environment.
Add in the fear of a lawsuit, and we're becoming a nation of salt-happy property owners. Bob Hodgkin says education is the key. For the Weather Network, I'm Emily Vukovic.
Well, that same system we're talking about pushing through Ontario and Quebec, tomorrow will bring rain to the Maritimes. There are rainfall warnings in around Halifax. In excess of 30 millimeters of rainfall is expected tomorrow. There are also rainfall warnings in around Vancouver. 60 to 70 millimeters of rain could fall tonight through tomorrow. It's also going to be quite windy along the coast, and a windy day, by the way, again today in southern Alberta. Our storm watch coverage will continue in a moment.